Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we can see a simple classification of bacteria. Bacteria can be classified based on various properties. First we can see the classification of bacteria on morphological basis. The true bacteria can be seen in different shapes in our environment. First one is cocci or coccus. These are spherical shaped bacteria. On the basis of arrangement of organisms, they can be described as monococci, diplococci, staphylococci, streptococci, tetrad and sarcina. Monococci is the cell or coccus occurring in singles. Diplococci, here cocci occurs in pairs. In staphylococci, we can see grape-like clusters. Streptococci, here the cells are arranged in chains. Tetrad, it contains cells in a group of 4 and sarcina contains cells in a group of 8. Here, a single coccus, it undergo division in a single plane to form diplococcus or streptococcus, and the coccus it undergo division in two planes, that is two perpendicular planes to form tetrad or sarcina, and the coccus it undergo division in several planes to form irregular clusters, mainly grape-like clusters with number of cells varies, and staphylococcus and micrococcus are examples. Second type of organism is bacilli. These are rod-shaped organisms. They are also called bacillus. That is bacillus, it is singular. On the basis of arrangement, we can see different types of bacilli: diplobacilli, streptobacilli, palisades, Chinese letter form, coccobacilli, comma-shaped bacilli. These are some important diagrammatic representations. That is, this is a single bacillus, this is bacilli in chains, this is bacilli in pairs, and this is the palisade arrangement of bacterium or rods. Third one is actinomycetes. Actinomycetes, these are called ray fungus because of their appearance in tissue sections. These are rigid organisms like true bacterium, but they resemble fungus in some characters. For example, they exhibit branching and they tend to form filaments. So, they are sharing the characters of both bacterium and fungus. They are the connecting link between the bacteria and fungus. They are called so because of their resemblance to sun's rays in tissue sections. Spirochetes, these are relatively longer, slender, non-branched microorganisms of spiral shape. That is, they are having several coils. Then microorganisms of spiral shape can be seen in spirochetes. Mycoplasma, these are also known as PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia-like organism. These bacteria, they lack a rigid cell wall and are highly pleomorphic and are of indefinite shape. And they occur in round or oval bodies and in interlacing filaments also. In culture, they are having a fried egg appearance. Rickettsia and chlamydia. These are very small obligate parasites. Then they are seen or they are very small and were considered closely related to virus, but now they are regarded as bacteria and they are also capable of producing many diseases in human beings. Then based on the anatomical features, we can see different types of bacterium. For example, first one is capsule. Capsule, it is the outermost slime layer seen in some bacteria. It is seen outside the cell wall. Capsule may be a polysaccharide capsule or a polypeptide capsule. It helps in giving protection to the bacterium. It provides virulence to bacterium. It helps in attachment to suitable substratum. We can see two types of bacterium, that is capsulated bacterium and non-capsulated bacterium. Examples are capsulated bacterium is Streptococcus pneumoniae, Klebsiella pneumoniae, etc. Non-capsulated Staphylococcus, then Staphylococcus, Pseudomonas, Proteus, etc. are examples for non-capsulated organism. Klebsiella pneumonia, it is a capsulated organism. Flagella. Flagella, it is the means of or it's a mode of locomotion. Some bacteria possess flagella and they are grouped as flagellates and others are coming under efflagellates. In flagellates, we can see four types of flagellar arrangements. They are monotrichous, lophotrichous, amphitrichous and peritrichous. In monotrichous we can see a single flagella at one end of the organism, and in amphitrichous we can see two flagella, that is one at each poles. Then lophotrichous we can see a tuft of flagella at one pole. Peritrichous, the flagella it is seen along the lateral sides of the bacterial cell. Next is spores. Spores are formed by bacteria to tide over unfavorable conditions. During favorable conditions, they undergo germination to form vegetative state. Some bacteria are capable of producing spores, and this is the spore staining or the slide of spore staining. Here we can see a green colored portion inside this pink colored rod, and this green colored region it is the spore, and the completely pink colored rods are non-sporing bacterium, and some spore forming bacillus example is Bacillus species, Clostridium, etc. examples. The non-sporing forms are E. coli, then Klebsiella, Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Proteus, Pseudomonas, etc. examples for non-sporing organisms. Then based on the staining reactions we can see two categories of organisms. They are gram-positive and gram-negative organisms. Again they can be divided into gram-positive cocci, gram-negative cocci, gram-positive rods and gram-negative rods. Next is based on acid-fast staining. Acid-fast staining it is mainly used for the identification of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycobacterium leprae, Nocardia, etc. Acid fastness is a property shown by some bacterium, that is once stained they cannot be decolorized with strong acids or alcohols, and such type of organisms, that is they cannot be decolorized with strong acids. So this property is acid fastness, and this acid fastness it is mainly due to the presence of mycolic acid in their cell wall, that is once stained they cannot be decolorized with strong acids, and this property is acid fastness, and acid fastness is shown mainly by Mycobacterium species, that is tuberculosis, leprae, etc. Then non-acid fast bacilli examples are Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, Proteus, Bacillus and so on. So acid fast staining it is having a medical importance or diagnostic importance. It helps in to demonstrate the presence of Mycobacterium tuberculosis in various clinical samples such as sputum. So it helps in the diagnosis of TB. Next is based on the cultural characteristics. Extra growth factor requirements can be seen in some bacteria, that is they cannot grow in basic nutritional requirements. They require additional nutrients. For example, some require blood, some require serum, etc. Some require egg for their growth. All these are coming under the group called fastidious. Fastidious means they require extra growth requirements or growth factors for their growth. Haemophilus influenzae is an example for a fastidious organism. Non-fastidious organisms means they require only the basic nutrients. Then based on the utilization of carbohydrates, we can see two types, oxidative and fermentative type of microorganisms can be seen. Then based on growth rate, that is rapidly growing microorganisms can be seen. Slow growers can also be seen. For example, some require weeks to months for giving growth. One example is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Then pigment production, many of the bacteria are capable of producing pigments. Some diagrams are given or some photos are given here, and we can see different colors or different pigments can be seen: violet color, green color, yellow color, red color, etc. And examples for pigment producers are Serratia, Chromobacterium, Micrococcus, Pseudomonas, etc. Then pigment non-producers examples are E. coli, then Klebsiella, etc. Then based on nutrition we can see autotrophs and heterotrophs. We have already discussed that. Then based on environmental factors we can see the main environmental factors for their growth are temperature, oxygen dependence, pH, salt concentration, atmospheric pressure, etc. Based on the temperature requirement, we can see different kinds of bacteria, mainly psychrophiles, mesophiles, thermophiles, and extreme thermophiles. Psychrophiles, they are growing at a temperature range of 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, and mesophiles 20 to 40 degrees Celsius, thermophiles 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, and extreme thermophiles, they can grow as high as 250 degrees Celsius. Most of our pathogenic microorganisms, they come under mesophilic group. Then oxygen dependence. We can see the simple classification, that is organisms which can grow in presence of oxygen as aerobes and in absence of oxygen as anaerobes. Aerobes, they can grow in a condition that is 21% of oxygen and small amount of carbon dioxide. So they can grow in the presence of oxygen. Obligate aerobes means they are strictly aerobes, that is they require oxygen for their growth, otherwise they will die. Microaerophilic means they grow under reduced oxygen concentration and they require high carbon dioxide concentration. Facultative anaerobes, they are capable of growing either in presence or absence of oxygen. Obligate anaerobes, these obligate anaerobes are similar to obligate aerobes, that is obligate anaerobes, they cannot grow in the presence of oxygen. They are growing only in the absence of oxygen. Strictly they grow in the absence of oxygen, so they are obligate anaerobes. A trace amount of oxygen is toxic to obligate anaerobes. Then another group is canophilic organism. They are carbon dioxide loving organism. They require a high or increased carbon dioxide concentration, that is 5 to 10% for their growth. Next is pH. Acidophiles, alkalophiles, and neutrophiles can be seen most of the majority of microorganisms. They fall in the neutrophil range or neutrophilic range. Acidophiles mainly lactobacillus, alkalophiles example is Vibrio. Then coming to salt concentration, that is many of the microorganisms, they require a small amount of salt or sodium chloride for their growth. And in some cases we can see salt loving microorganisms, mainly Archaebacteria. Archaebacteria, we can see a group called halophiles or halobacterium is an example. They require a very high salt concentration for their growth. That's all about the basic classification of microorganisms based on their requirements. Then we can see the bacterial taxonomy or the bacterial classification in detail in the next class. Hope you all understand this. Thank you. Have a nice day.